Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we are taking out the Maas, the tier 7 German destroyer. And I had to say, after going through the Ernst Gaede and moving on to the Maas, I really do like the Maas. This was the very first battle I had with her, so still learning all her tricks and her potential ability to combat the enemy team. But let's actually quickly take a look at the team. We are playing on two brothers. We have a Colorado, a Hood, a Gneisenau, two Koenigs, Atlanta, Nuremberg, Perth, Omaha, Mahan, Maas, and a Mutsuki. On the enemy team, there is two Hoods, a Scharnhorst, New York, Koenig, Stores, Cleveland, Duca, Emerald, Mahan, Shiratsuyu, and a Minikaze. And we are unfortunately playing Standard Battle. Not a big fan of Standard Battle. It really does allow the potential of being slightly more passive compared to, say, Domination. But it still can be exciting, and this is going to be an exciting battle. It's going to be very, very close. Really will come down to the team, and we'll see how that is. Now, unfortunately, we are spotted, which must mean there is probably actually either the Minikaze that is currently spotting us, and going to the ship itself, I like her. 3 shells there, we did around 14,000 points of damage, 5 guns on this ship. High explosives, pretty decent. We do get a fire on that Minikaze, but it looks like he obviously is going to repair that, and he is unfortunately going to slip away. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull myself around behind this island, because I'm not quite certain on what the enemy team is doing. I don't know if they're going to actually try to push up, but we are now undetected, and at the moment we're not seeing anything else, but unfortunately there's only 2 of us. We do have a friendly friendly Koenig that is pushing over here, obviously, with that other Koenig. Now, we do have a Colorado that started this match saying that he was going down the middle. And guess what? Even though we have told him, don't do that, that is a stupid idea, he's still gonna go down the middle. Don't go down the middle on two brothers. Even if you think it's the coolest idea, and yes, it may potentially actually work, but it's probably not, because, yeah. So, the majority of our team is pushing out west, but the majority of the enemy team is pushing out west as well. As you can see, we only saw the Minikaze, and it looks at the moment like most of the enemy battleships are pushing out west. We did see one destroyer. We did see the Emerald that was pushing out as well. But still seeing don't see any enemy ships coming this way. So it looks like they are predominantly trying to secure the western side. Now, obviously, we have lost our Omaha, which is no surprise. Poor Omaha generally gets targeted down very, very quickly. Now, the torpedoes, as you can see, 4 torpedoes for each tube, 8 total. They do have a 8-kilometer range for the stock, and this is a stock Maas. And even though it's stock, it's still pretty decent. Now, the torpedoes can increase in range to 8.5 kilometers. And we have just lost our Perth, which is nothing extravagant. Now, I did get a fire on that Emerald. This Emerald is pulling away, and I did switch over to AP. Now, the Maas's AP actually is pretty decent. And this Emerald is not going to last for very long. But the AP on the Maas, I find that it actually does a really good job. And we just earned our very first kill. We only did around 7,000 points of damage. So, yeah, granted, it wasn't the highest gross, but at least we ensured that this Emerald did go down. Now, as you can see on the minimap, we have the friendly Colorado starting to push down. Obviously, there is the enemy Minikaze that decided to loop all the way around up through the central channel. And it has confronted the Colorado Now, at this moment, we do have a Stores that is currently AFK. And torpedoes are ready. There's no other potential enemy. And if he does come around, he could be a potential threat. Now, I'm trying to keep my distance. The range on the Maas is around 6.8 kilometers. A little bit more compared to the Gaede. Or I think around 6.5. Trying to keep that distance. Unfortunately, I slipped in a little bit, trying to pull away as quick as possible. So we were spotted for a second, so if the enemy team was paying attention, they would have realized the Maas was over on the side. Now, we have a friendly Mahan, and I don't know exactly what he's doing. He is currently trying to cap. He is going to try to force their hand, and we are going to take out the Stores. No big surprise there. And the friendly Colorado actually does take out the Benicaze. But unfortunately for our Mahan, actually I don't know who's currently spotting him, has taken a few hits from the enemy team, and we have just lost our friendly Gaede now to the enemy hoods. The enemy hoods are going to be our most major threat, and yeah, our team is starting to die now. We have just lost our Mutsuki as well, and our Mahan, I believe, is he... Actually, I don't know what he's doing. Let's see. I thought he was in smoke. It looks like he is in smoke. There is a enemy Scharnhorst, and we are detected. Unfortunately, we got a little bit too close. Do go ahead and open up against this Scharnhorst. Now, at this angle, obviously HE would be a far superior possible use of ammo type, but yeah, AP is still pretty decent. We're gonna see if we can try to get a fire on the Scharnhorst. Now, I feel like the shell velocity on the Maas's guns are pretty decent. It feels like they go to target a little bit better than what the Gaede was able to do. And we did get a fire, and the Scharnhorst has to know there is a enemy destroyer over here, but he continues sailing in a straight line right towards torpedoes, and these torpedoes are going to hurt a lot. Took out at least 20-some thousand, and as you can see, we are sitting about 71,000 points of damage right now. Now the Scharnhorst has started to show a broadside, and we just did around 20,500 points of damage right there. This is what I was talking about. This AP can really dish out that damage if you are shown a broadside. 3,000 points right there. Yes, I am really liking the Maas's AP. I think it does a fantastic job. Now we have just lost our friendly Mahan to the enemy Mahan's torpedoes. Oh, but take a look at our damage. Our damage, we're sitting at 82,000 points of damage, and that's not even half of it. We're gonna get a lot more. Now they do have the friendly Colorado that is finally pushing down. We do have the friendly Atlanta that's pushing down. Our friendly team has essentially lost the western front, which is going to allow the enemy team to push north if they want to, but obviously we are currently capping their base. We do have a friendly Koenig that is pushing in to try to take the base as quickly as possible, but this is not gonna work out very well. Now we do have a Duca, which has pretty good torpedoes. They have good range, but I don't know what our Koenig is doing. He has to know there's a Mahan, and he has to realize there's a potential threat of torpedoes, and Mahan is spotted. I probably should have smoked, but it looks like that New York actually was able to dodge my torpedoes. Not what I wanted to see, so I'll go ahead and open up against this Mahan. Slow up. Obviously, the Mahan is actually being spotted by the friendly Koenig. Trying to land those shells on this Mahan, try to take him out. He's obviously the most major threat for our enemy team. It looks like he is actually doing a smoke drop for his friendly to assist, and obviously there are all those torpedoes. It looks like the Atlanta and the Colorado have arrived to assist. This Atlanta is not going to last very long. I'll tell you that much. AP is loaded, and once again the AP against broadside cruisers. Ooh, it can hurt. And come on, can we get this kill? Nope. It looks like the friendly Koenig secondaries took the kill. So as far as the teams are going, we're actually fairly even. Although they have one more destroyer compared to us, we do have that additional cruiser, but we do have only one cruiser that is currently sitting in cap, who is actually possibly gonna get chased down by the Shiratsuyu. We'll see what that Shiratsuyu is gonna be doing. Now, I have gone quiet, hoping to get a potential drop on this enemy Koenig. He is possibly coming around this corner, hoping to get those torpedo drops. Lining up, drops are away. Now, trying to keep within this cap, just to ensure that we at least stay ahead in points. We are preventing the enemy team from gaining any points. Unfortunately, we have just lost all the captured points that we have earned by slipping outside the base. Torpedoes are away at the Koenig, but I think this Koenig is going to find the random gap in torpedoes and is probably just going to slip through. Oh, never mind. We actually get 2 torpedoes on that enemy Koenig, which is going to leave him very, very low on health, and have dropped my own smoke screen, trying to finish him off. Try and get that fire. That fire would be nice. It looks like he's actually flooding, and the Atlanta takes him out. Okay. Alright, well, there's the enemy hood that's coming in. We have the Mahan, and it looks like the enemy Shiratsu decided to go into our cap and begin capping. Well, this battle is not quite over with. Enemy hood is going to be the most dangerous threat. Torpedoes are going to be back up in about 10 seconds. We have just lost our friendly Atlanta to the enemy hood. Now, the enemy hood players are actually fairly good captains. They do give a run for our money. So, yeah, here I made a slight misjudgment on his what he was planning on doing. As you can see, he's actually starting to turn completely around, and those torpedoes I just dropped are going to miss him. And this is probably one thing I wish I could go back and redo, is that drop right there. Had I been paying attention on what he was actually planning to do, I would have switched my torpedoes around and focused more in the direction that he was potentially going towards. And unfortunately for us, our smoke screen is now gone. But we do get a fire on this hood, so hopefully that will stick around for a little bit, doing some damage. But unfortunately, we have just lost our Colorado, and I am the only ship down here. The Nuremberg is all the way up north, currently dealing with the Shiratsuyu. Don't exactly, can't really see his health, but we do see the Shiratsuyu is actually pulling away from our cap. And yeah. And unfortunately for us, we get a slap in the face from that enemy hood. Oh. So now, as you can see in chat, this is where the annoyance begins. We have the Atlanta saying, "Don't run, just die." We could potentially win if I was able to sink one more ship, a battleship in particular. Should be able to take away some of their points and get some points back for us. If we land these torpedoes are on their way. I think they are pretty good. It looks like we have lost connection momentarily. This is one bad thing. As you can see, I'm slightly aggravated, but it was just for a moment. I think those torpedoes should be able to hit. Looks like he's turning away, and the friendly Nuremberg goes down to the enemy Shiratsuyu. And unfortunately, this hood is going to get away, even though we just did over 30,000 points of damage against that hood. We are the only person on the enemy team, or on the friendly team, still alive, and I really, really want to take out this hood. But there's also Cleveland. And obviously, if I open up this, these hoods are gonna open up and potentially take me out as well. So I'm gonna chance it. Might as well try it. Colorado is trying to be helpful, and unfortunately, the German destroyer's HE is not very good. It has a very low fire percent chance, and RNGesus was not in our favor, and we did not get that fire. And he is currently healing. Oh, great. Look at the damage we have done. We have earned 179,171 points of damage. We have earned Devastating Strike, High Caliber, and Confederate. And now we're getting called a coward by the Colorado. There is about 4 minutes left in the match right now. We are at a deficit of about 170 points, but I'm hoping that if I can take out the enemy Shiratsu and possibly another cruiser, we should be able to deal a significant amount of damage. Now, this Cleveland started turning away a little bit quicker than I anticipated. As you can see, the AP really starts to rack up the damage. Did almost 2,000 points of damage right there. So I'm definitely enjoying the Maas's AP. So far, I like the Maas a lot better, and this Cleveland just took a huge chunk of damage away from us. And looks like the enemy Shiratsu has decided to go into our cap, which is actually a really good decision. Don't always know what we could be potentially doing. Now, here it becomes really frustrating having a really good game and then your teammates just die. And then they start calling you a coward and trying to tell you one of those times here. For example, this Lanta. This is one of the times I almost wanted to tell you the other team player, last guy, is just prolonging it for no reason, and I'm getting called a fool. I'm just first game in the Maas, doing this amazing, and the enemy team, just being downright shit. But I am pushing up towards the cap. I'm hoping to take out the enemy Shiratsu. We are 200 points under. I don't know if we're going to be able to really come back from this. You gotta love teammates. Just going back and watching this just frustrates me even more. But I do have a purpose. I am actually currently hoping to catch this Shiratsu. And as I point out, I've done a shit ton better than you guys. And we are detected, obviously, by the enemy Shiratsu. And there we go. We got some defense base caps. And here is a very good tactic. Hydroacoustics. And obviously Shiratsu's torpedoes are probably reloaded. Gonna pull away. Start slowing up just a little bit. And those were really super close. And here's a good tactic, is using your smoke to actually disappear from a enemy destroyer while using your own hydro to spot him. And it looks like the Shiratsu has drop torpedoes, and we get a torpedo kill. So that is one dead enemy Shiratsu. So pretty good. I'm actually kind of curious. Yeah. We are a little bit closer, but unfortunately there's not going to be much I can do left. All that's left in this match is about 40 seconds, and I am extremely low in health. Might as well try to rack up even more damage, try to get a little bit more experience and more money. And once again, the AP on the Cleveland is pretty good. Or Cleveland on the Maas is pretty good, but RNGesus just hates me, as any moment now from the hood downtown gets a detonate. So unfortunately, we earned a defeat, but we did receive 433,793 silver, 4,091 XP. We earned a Confederate, Detonation, which is always so fun to get. Devastating Strike, and High Caliber. We did 199,555. 199,555, which is pretty good considering it was my first match in the Maas. So overall, pretty good. 202 shell hits, 13 torpedo hits, and 3 incapacitation, 4 kills, 4 fires, 7 flooding, and 3 defended base caps. So overall, not a bad match. Obviously, would have been a crap ton better if we actually won the match, but unfortunately it was not meant to be, especially with our teammates. We earn top of the team with a base XP of 1,759. Just take a look at the second teammate. 791, over 1.5 times more XP was done by me versus the second teammate. Yeah, we even did better than the number 1 teammate on the enemy team with a base XP of 1,667. That is insane. I've actually never seen that. That's actually really cool. But unfortunately for me, I did not get the other screenshot, so I do apologize for that. But anyway, we're going to quickly hop into the port and take a look at the stats of the Maas. Alright everyone, welcome back to the port, and we are going to take a quick look at the Maas. And yes, it was very unfortunate that even though doing that well for my very first game with the Maas, that it ended with a defeat. But overall, I will have to say, I do like the Maas a lot better than the Gaede. Or Gaede, or however you pronounce it. I still mess this up to this day. I definitely like the Maas more so than I liked the tier 6. So here's hoping that they will continue getting better. We'll see as time goes. So let's quickly take a look at the stats. Survivability, you have 14,400 stock. Obviously this is stock. And armor is around 12 to 16 millimeters. Now, I do notice, especially with the German destroyers, is that you tend to get almost sometimes, actually quite a bit often, full penetration value. So you get and receive a lot of damage. And this ship is pretty big. She's a pretty big destroyer for tier 7. Let's see if I actually have a tier 7 destroyer, just so we have something to compare it to. I do not, which is unfortunate, but she generally is a slightly bigger destroyer. She will, once you have her upgraded, have the highest as far as HP is concerned, which does benefit her because it does allow you to take that more damage, especially since you are not as maneuverable as, say, the USN destroyers, but it's beneficial. Now her artillery is pretty decent actually. 128 millimeters. You have 5 main guns, single mount each. They have a reload time of 4 seconds, which is pretty darn good. It's very comparable to the Mahan. The turn time on the guns are a little bit slow, 17.1 seconds, so it does take a little bit of time for your guns to turn around. Probably the major issue, obviously, compared to like the USN Mahan, who has a very quick turn time on the guns. It does take a little bit of time to get turned around. Now, max dispersion at 9.9 kilometers is 83 meters. So your shots can tend to go wide, but doesn't happen too often. Dispersion is not too terrible, but it will happen occasionally. Max HE damage is 1500, and chance of fire is a lowly 6.5%. HE is not really that great, especially with the Maas, as you did see in the battle. Her AP is really where it's at. 3000 max AP damage, and against a lightly armored cruisers such as that Cleveland showing you a broadside, you can dish out that damage pretty well. AP does a really fantastic job. Now, I've yet to really test this out, and I'm kind of wanting to do this sometime on my own to see whether or not HE or AP will be better against destroyers. Now, obviously, if a destroyer angles against you, AP will just bounce harmlessly off the side. Well, HE will actually cause damage. So there's factors. So I kind of want to test this out. Now, her shell velocity is decent. It's not very hierarchy as it used to be with the Gaede. It does go to target, but obviously it's not straight to target. Her range at the moment is 9.9, not the greatest in the world. Definitely will need a slight buff. Once you get it upgraded, you will get that additional range. Her torpedoes are actually pretty decent. They're almost exactly the same as the tier 6 torpedoes. They have a 8-kilometer range. Max damage is 13,700. They have a 90-second reload time and are detected at 1.3 kilometers. And they go 65 knots, so that's pretty decent, good speed on the torpedoes. Definitely, I would almost say what would help the German destroyer line is your captain getting torpedo armament expertise. I think that will definitely help. Her AA defense is that of a destroyer. It's nothing too extravagant. 24 average damage on 8 single mount 20 millimeters. They have a 2-kilometer range. Then you have additional AA. They will do an average damage of 5 at 3.5. So nothing highly damaging with your AA guns, which is kind of something that you normally see with destroyers. We'll see how the later tiers go. Now, maneuverability, decent speed, 37 knots, pretty decent. It has a turning circle radius of 640 meters. That's pretty big for a destroyer. That is pretty big. That is cruiser level turning circle radius. So that is her main flaw, and also her rudder shift time at 5.8 seconds. Those are her main flaws, is she does take a little bit of time. Now, obviously, once you upgrade to the B hull, you can actually reduce that and get a much slower rudder shift time, but her turning circle radius is huge, so something to keep in mind. Concealment is not too bad, 6.8, about 200 meters more than the Gaede, but you're still able to invisify her torpedoes. You will probably be spotted quite frequently, especially if you're going up against Japanese destroyers, and I think you're about the same with the USN. I think they are very similar as far as detectability, so not too bad. But the range by air is massive, 3.6 kilometers, so you have a pretty big air detectability, so do keep that in mind whenever you're dealing with any aircrafts in the air. Obviously, try to avoid them as much as possible. Now, moving on to modules. Obviously she does have the hydroacoustic search too. Ship acquisition is 4.2 kilometers. Torpedo is 2.97. I really recommend getting the premium. This is really debatable, but with the German line of destroyers being the only line that does have hydroacoustics, this will prove very beneficial, as you did see the use of that hydroacoustics as far as offensively and defensively purpose. This will prove beneficial, and you always almost want to have this up and going as quick as possible. Her smoke is a bit iffy, only lasts for 65 seconds, a little bit longer than previously, but not by much. Definitely nothing compared to the USN destroyer line. So big thing to keep in mind, your smoke will not last forever. As far as upgrades, nothing really has changed. So moving on to our captain. The captain really has not changed that much. I probably will be readjusting this. A few things I kind of want to get is going to be higher alert. No, not higher alert. Jack of all trades. And then torpedo armament expertise. This will prove beneficial with the reload on the torpedoes. And this will increase the reload on the consumables. So both will prove beneficial, should be on later tiers. Now, basics firing training would be beneficial for the guns, just so that they're at least more capable of actually doing damage, especially against USN destroyers, so you can compete with them. So those are at least 3 I want to get, which is about... So I don't know if I'm gonna have enough points. We'll see as things progress, but hopefully we'll be able to take care of that in the future. But anyways, this is gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zaijian.